It's your fault, Andrew, that we ended up in the bottom three because you're so inking boring. That's what she was almost saying to him.
Welcome to another episode of Love or Lie Island. I'm Mel Evans, Metro.co.uk's Deputy Entertainment Editor, and for another week we are joined by the glorious Judi James, our body language expert. Hi, Judi.
Hi, Mel. And as we always say, what a week as well.
What a week. I know, I was thinking, what's a more interesting way to introduce this episode? But it's just another absolute
we could
bombshell.
say it was really boring, just joking maybe. But yeah. Or actually, I could say synchronized love falling in this week. How many of them do we actually believe in, though? My answer would be 1.5 couples.
1.5. Well, I cannot wait to figure out who this 1.5 is. Are you going to tell us at the beginning, or are we going to go through it?
How long can you wait? I'll tell you at the end. Actually, you'll hate me when I tell you, so probably we better wait and keep that smile on your face.
Oh, I'm very, very excited. I mean, I feel like every episode we say good on Ekancy because she's bringing it. And again, she has written this show this week. What would this show be this week without Ekancy again?
Absolutely. The way that she kind of pounced and went in there and ripped the show back, with her bare teeth to turning it into the Ekancy show again was incredible. And I think I'm beginning to absolutely tune in to her way of thinking as well. And I can begin to see maybe plot lines that will now go on for several more weeks. I could clearly, and people can check me out by looking back on Love or Lie Island, I clearly knew that she was going to get back with Davide. I mean, that she kind of posted that one up about 2 minutes after she cheated on him. Exactly. When she was going, how are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, if it's the Ekancy show, just sit back and enjoy it. Why not?
Exactly. And we will 100% be dissecting Davide and Ekancy's recoupling. I cannot wait to get into that. But first off, I'm going to kick things off with Dami and India. Arguably, the couple in the villa that I feel like, looking at everyone online, they are absolutely in love with Dami and India. And myself, I am too. I've loved following their journey so far. So let's check out their first date, which happened earlier this week.
Be myself, honestly, openly myself. She accepts me for it, because I do get a bit animated and crazy sometimes. She accepts me for it. That's what I would want.
Yeah.
Absolutely love them. I feel like there's such a natural energy between Dami and India, but I'm not the expert here. So what is your take on this people?
Oh my, I love Dami. I love India. I'm not 100% convinced. I'm afraid. See, I said you'd hate me. These dates, as far as body language are concerned, are pretty pants, quite honestly, because they're not natural. They're very contrite. They say, oh, it's the first time we've got alone on a date. Well, who was filming it all? And that, honestly, that music they play, that could make me buying chips from Iceland sound like a love story. It's blasting away in the background. And I'm thinking, can you just not put them in a room somewhere and let me watch them as they would be a little bit more naturally? So, clearly for the lovers of romance, it was brilliant. I think they realised themselves, because they did say a couple of times, I can't believe it's been this easy. It's kind of happened. So, and I would be very much in line with that thinking. There's nothing wrong. It's kind of been a little bit too, they kind of haven't gone through stages that I would expect to see them go through. And India was red flag girl. Do you remember when she first went in there? She was like, all guys have got red flags. It's like they're walking around with big bundles of red flags. I know she doesn't seem to be pinpointing anything with Dami. I'm totally enjoying the way that we're now getting to know Dami, that he's become a bigger character. I love the way that he stirs the pot all the time with the other guys. He's turned into this Love Island psychological guru. They all come to them for advice. And obviously on that date, there was some really really nice body language, but I want to be more convinced, and that, I will be the happiest woman in the world when I get more convinced. But at the moment, probably they haven't been tested a bit. We haven't seen. I think a lot of it was that we didn't see enough of them in the early days as individuals, and I think we probably missed a load of what's been going on maybe off camera. Absolutely fine. The thing I would say when it comes to the sexual side of the relationship, when he popped the cork off the Prosecco or whatever it is, he used eye contact, because that's such a phallic moment on a date, boom. I won't go any further. But he used eye contact, like, look, she looked away. Yeah, it's that side of it might need a little bit of a nudge.
Interesting. So he might have a bit more confidence there, but she's a bit more sort of guarded, do you think?
I think so. I mean, she took a flying leap at him, she hugs him, etc. But there was, and I've lost track a bit of what all the euphemisms are, but there's something about a beauty salon hadn't been opened yet or something like that. And
yeah, I'm not keeping track of that either. Yeah,
I must write it down, because I'm like, what are you saying? I think the test tube, no, what was that? There's something else they use that's pretty obvious, but no, I think she is holding out. I think she's right. And to be honest, if you said to me now, how much money would you put on them both coming out of Casa Amor without having done anything, I wouldn't put a lot of money on it. And I'm not being mean, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure yet. I have a feeling something's hanging in the air in terms of their plot line, that we're going to see something a bit more, I don't know, worrying, a few more tears there.
Interesting. So we might have some tests on the horizon next week. Gosh. Okay.
Not what I want. I love them to bits, but I want to be able to sit back and love them, thinking, it's a fully tested relationship. At the moment, as they said, it seems to have been a bit too easy.
Interesting. Well, we're going to stick on Dami now and go forward to Gemma and Luca. So Dami was doing, apparently he's a mind reader. He's got some psychic abilities here. And he, Ekancy, this was another example of her stirring the pot, and encouraged Dami to say what Gemma was really thinking about Luca. And that did not go down well. Let's take a look at that.
You feel like Luca probably likes you more than you like him.
I wouldn't have agreed with that.
So if someone came in that you got on better with, that you found more attractive than me, that you had more chemistry with than me, that is better than me, you would still stick with me even though they're better. It's bull.
Happening. I do feel a bit more into you than you do me.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
Well, if you're saying absolutely not, my head would 100% not turn, then possibly.
Ooh, what's going on with Gemma and Luca? There's this thing of, does she like him as much as he likes her? What's your take?
As a couple, I'm actually seeing more testing going on here between them. They've always game played. I think both of them have got this feeling that, no, if I capitulate too early, they're going to use it against me. So I think they both do this kind of love-hate role play thing going on, and it's a bit like what I call a traffic lights relationship, which is where they'll get to the green light stage, but then they'll wait at amber for quite a while and test one another out, and they'll maybe stop for a while as well, and they're still doing that. And I think it's probably a good idea, because what I don't like with them is when Luca is a little bit over smitten. I'm obsessed with you. And I think when he says things like that, he can see by her face that even though she might have feelings for him, that maybe that's given too much away. But for me, anything like, and what was the plot stirred or not, on that one? I mean, that wasn't even done subtly, was it? The way that Ekin, the words had just about come out their mouth, and we saw her off to sort of spread it to the one person that she knew would use it wisely. I mean, straight over to Jack's. But I think in a way that Luca and Gemma are actually a bit immune to some of this stuff, because I think there's something that they both know about how the other one feels, but they'll still use this stuff and burn it up as a little test. So he'll sit down and pretend to be a bit, and they'll be distanced, but you can see the grin starting. And then they did this allowed them to do a huge bit of brinkmanship, which is where when they were sitting down to discuss it, it got to that point that they do a lot. Oh, we're on different pages, she said. And then she's waiting to hear what he's going to do. And then he said, okay, so what do you want to do? It was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be the point where one is going to break off with the other one and just say, well, that's it, we're finished. But then they kind of then work around it. And you can see that they both get a bit frightened like children at that stage. I think one thing that people need to remember about Gemma is that I know people think that, I don't know, Luca is the stronger character that he's playing her a bit or something, but you listen to her in those discussions, her big phrase, let me speak. She's very, very assertive, shall I say, to the point of, I don't like using the word bossy, but she's very dominant. And she doesn't give him any slack. And I think he needs that. I think he was a bit of a Jack the Lad when he went in there. But again, they are going to be very interesting when with Casa Amor. I think that's going to be a very interesting one, because they will be people that whoever goes into either will be told to make a beeline for them, because you know that's the couple that people are thinking, will they break up? I'm quite I'm liking what I have to say. Their body language works for me.
Okay, yeah. It's more because I was wondering when Gemma was getting really, really angry about Ekin running off and gossiping essentially, I was thinking, is she compensating, or is this just her actually feeling passionately about this relationship and someone trying to stir the pot?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if you were doing what I did when Dami said that, you know, he was reading her mind, and then she went, oh, you're, what was it, probably 100% close or something.
You're not far off. I think she said
I think
like
we're all waiting to see how that phrase was going to end. Would she say, oh, no, that's rubbish? But in a way, she's right. And I think there is a degree of honesty, but she didn't like the way that it was obviously, I mean, that for that to be carried back to Luca was not good. And I think a lot of that was to do with the power levels and the status levels, that she's quite tough, Gemma, and I don't think she liked the fact that Danica Ekancy really showed no respect and tried to stir that one up. So in a way, and I know Luca was saying, well, you know, you didn't speak to me first. It almost had nothing to do with him, weirdly. It was about two women that needed to have a bit of a fight, and you know, you shouldn't do that to me, blah, blah, blah. And the big point with Ekancy is when you get into an argument with her, she bounces it back, doesn't she? She's like, well, then that's all right then. If you've got nothing to hide, what did I do wrong? She would be a very frustrating person to argue with, because it'd be like arguing with your own shadow in a way. You know, you'll get hit. The bigger hit you land, she throws it back at you. So that's quite an interesting dynamic between her and Gemma, because Gemma had sussed her earlier on, hadn't she? And she was the one that joined in with Amber and said, no, I must admit, we don't believe you a lot of the time. So, there's bubbling under. Lucas should just stand back and not even get involved, actually. It's really got nothing much to do with him.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I love it. Moving on now to Tasha and Andrew, who have been on quite a roller coaster this week, with Charlie coming in. They were a couple that seemed so solid from the off. And then Charlie comes in. Now Tasha is flip-flopping. Now she's with Andrew. Andrew's confused. Now does she want to be... let's check out their journey this week.
I want you to do you. Be happy.
I just need some time.
From me?
No, I'm just sick of different shit. Our connection gets stronger and stronger every day. I can literally stand here and say I haven't felt like this about anyone ever.
I was literally obsessed with yours. I don't think you realise how much I like you.
So that is quite a roller coaster that she's been on. She was second guessing her relationship with Andrew. Andrew almost had to prove himself. Then she had that gushing moment during the recoupling. Luke is rolling his eyes because he's clearly not buying it. And then the heart rate challenge, which really set her off, because Andrew's heart rate went up the most for Danica, who had only just sort of shared her intention to want to get to know Andrew. So Where's your opinion of Tasha this week?
I think with Tasha and Andrew, let's surgically remove Andrew because he's not wanted on this plot, actually. This is about Tasha. And Tasha had 3 big problems this week. Number one, the fact that she was in the bottom 3 and we saw her face, I should be winning this competition. Why can that mean that I'm unpopular? Now, this is where Freud's ego protection kicks in, where people don't want to believe it's anything to do with them. So if it's nothing to do with her, that she's this popular, wonderful woman, it had to be Andrew's fault. And that's when we got this line about, I used to be this sassy, bad bitch, Tasha, and I've lost that. And what she was saying was, it's your fault, Andrew, that we ended up in the bottom 3 because you're so inking boring. That's what she was almost saying to him between the lines. Number 2, she had the problem that Charlie rejected her in the recoupling because she said to him, that's up to you, Charlie, like as in pick me. And then her face when he chose Ekancy, she tried to feign relief, didn't she? But why would you be relieved if you've already said to the guy that, if you want me, you can pretty much choose me? So that one dented her. And then when she did her Barbie dance, the lap dance, she didn't get the response that she wanted. And that clearly upset her. It was like, and what she started to do is she started to give us lists out loud of everything that's wonderful about herself, her good points, this sassy, the bad bitch, that she's desirable, that everybody, everybody loves her, blah, blah, blah. She's even started doing something that Davide has done hilariously, which is to talk about herself in the third person, as though she's a brand. So, this is, I've turned to gooey Tasha, she said, didn't she? So what was she going to do? She's in a complete conundrum. And you win Love Island in one of 2 ways. Either you win it as Ekancy's going to win it, whatever happens, which means that work is lined up when you get out because you're such a fascinating character. The people from all the other reality shows are waiting to book you, etc. She's going to lose that with Andrew. Or she wins it by being the most in-love popular couple and then wins the whole competition. I wonder if she's realised that's not going to happen either, really. And I don't envy her. I don't know what she's going to do next. It may be down to Casa Amor, but Andrew is such a little love puppy, isn't he? He's just so, it would be like, kicking a puppy. So it's going to make her look bad if she disengages. But I'm not really, the body language that's not working for me is all this, I'm in love. Oh, really? Why were you saying Charlie could pick you? I wish she'd stop doing that. I actually don't like the gooey Tasha either, but I think she's slightly overrated the sassy bad bitch. I mean, she's lost that ground, hasn't she? I mean, Ekancy's just cornered that market. So I don't know where she's going to go, which is a shame.
Oh, gosh, I know. I really liked her in the beginning. A couple, though, that has also been tested this week is Paige and Jack's. So another couple that was really strong. Jay swooped in and picked Paige in the recoupling, and we saw Jax and Paige holding hands over across the beds, which was this moment where you're thinking, is Jax doing this because he's really into Paige, or is it sort of you're with my woman in the bed there sort of thing? We saw them have an argument and we saw them make up. There's been a lot going on this week. Let's have a look at them this week.
What are you all talking about?
What are you having to go with me for?
It's a challenge, mate.
Who are you coming at right now? Because I know it's not me with that attitude.
Because your face.
My face is fine.
When you actually opened up and told me why, I was like, okay, yeah. No, I apologise. Like, I should have had your feelings first before mine.
Straddling during an argument. Not a good look, is it, Judi?
No. And I think we're getting bits of the jigsaw puzzle fitting in at the moment, and it's maybe not a good look. At the moment that he took her off, do you remember when they sat on the stairs so he could reveal but the fact that he spent ages putting his mic on before he said to her, I've never said this to anybody before, but you happen to be doing it with it. And I think he obviously doesn't want to lose face with the guys, and he doesn't want to lose out. And that did kind of keep her with him. But then, you know, he even turned on Luca, didn't he, when he sort of said about Gemma. Oh, and I didn't know at the time, because he was saying, yeah, well, the reason why, you know, we split up was because she had issues, and it's almost like he wasn't doing anything, but she was, you know, making him feel good and everything like that. And I thought, well, we don't really know what's happened there. But boy, he himself put that bit of the jigsaw puzzle in that clip that we've just seen, because he said about Paige, oh, she hasn't got issues. She's the kind of girl that I can do what I want, and you know, I can still wake up and she'll be smiling the next morning, which is a slightly worrying thing anyway. But what we got there was really not a nice thing to watch. So, you know, he carries her, he sits her down so that she's straddling him. Very vulnerable position anyway, and extremely intimate. And the only thing that you would expect after somebody sat you like that is that they're going to kiss you and whisper sweet nothings or whatever. Instead of that, he wanted to stimulate an argument. It was quite horrible the way he started. What's up then? You know, I think it quite shocked her. He then, after she's sitting on his lap quite intimately, he leans back and spreads his arms out. And then he starts, no, come on, you know, tell me. He's self-preening. It must have been quite shocking in a way to get somebody that, you know, that, and suddenly they turn like that. And then it became really horrible, didn't it? Because he kind of got her to sound as though she had an issue, which is the thing he'd been talking about with Gemma. And if that's having an issue, then, you know, forget it with Gemma. You know, that is not an issue. That is not a woman having an issue. I'm sorry. But his reaction was way off the scale. His facial expressions turned ugly. He lost that lovely boyish smile that he's so good at. Yeah. The swearing started, pathetic, you know, the name calling. Then he, as a final sort of coup de grace, oh, well, it's probably down to the fact that when she did that, I was having flashbacks about how we had our relationship. Oh, what on earth?
You don't want to hear that.
Really? I mean, all of that was unpleasant. And I think what he showed us there is that his version of, oh, Gemma had issues. I think she probably had every right to have issues, in actual fact. I mean, he was going out a lot with the lads and everything like that. And he clearly hates to be challenged, but he hates it so much that he stimulated it from Paige. Just, oh, where do I go? You know, it wasn't at all nice to watch that. And I know Paige is a reasonably strong character, but that kind of way of dealing with people, I mean, she then tried to sort of be nice to him. Not a good. I didn't find that comfortable watching at all.
No. But then moving on to Davide and Ekancy, our resident actors in the villa. We absolutely love them, and I mean, they're just going to bring it now for the next few episodes. Let's have a look at their epic recoupling and the aftermath.
I feel like I got a bit of power, like...
Yeah, you're in a good position because, like, she will have to put in a bit of work now. I think she understands that.
Yeah.
I wanted to give it a go again. See what happens.
Yeah, that's nice to hear.
I'm absolutely obsessed with Davide, sitting back and going, that's nice for you.
It's funny, isn't it? Because with both of them, they're both like walking sex bombs until they couple up, and then suddenly nothing. And you know, I don't mind that, because in actual fact, I prefer that, because they are both bringing the drama. They both know what they're doing. They both know that they're winning on plot lines and profile and everything. And what I loved was the moment when they kind of looked at one another and smiled after and I think a lot of people will have thought, oh, look, they're secretly smitten. Those were smug smiles, as in, you know, we just won the Love Island plot lines for the next, until the end of it. And I'm absolutely happy with that. Do they have any real feelings for one another? I think probably they admire one another's acting quite well, which is good. I think they're going to be great to watch. And just to whet our appetite, you can kind of, I love soap operas, I've written novels, I love looking at a good plot line, and I actually took my hat off to her when she did that, because I thought this isn't just about what's happening now, and we will see this thing about how can I ever trust you again? Oh, I'll make you trust me. She's got to do that in 2 or 3 days. She's got to turn it around. She's got to prove that he can trust her. She's got to prove to the public that she's now, absolutely head over heels in love with the guy. And then they will go into Casa Amor. And then the best plot line for those two would be she does not cop off with another guy because she's turned into this loyal, loving woman. And he walks back in with another woman, and then she will be, because we haven't had the full tears from it yet, that's going to be such a fun plot line. I can't wait. And I really thank her for setting that one up. I mean, it might not happen, but that would be very much what I want to see. As a drama, that would be 100% Crossroads, EastEnders, all that would be the best plot line. All rolled into one.
So do you think there is any chemistry? Did you think there was chemistry the first time they were coupled up? Or is it the same thing second time?
I don't see any chemistry from Davide. I think she is in there to do a job that she's doing really well. I almost don't want to see them take it to the next level, because that would be, just at night, like any good actor, take your makeup off and get a good night's sleep and then get in a role again the next day. I'm not being cynical. I love them for it. I think they're doing it really, really well. But with him, he's created his own, as I say, he's talking about himself in the third person. He's said that he's a celebrity now. He said that she looks good, but until she starts talking, I don't think that any woman that went in there would be right for Davide now, because I think he's done he's established this character, which is magnificent. I think, he can bench press the size of an elephant. I don't know. I don't think that he would be in love with anything other than his pecs.
Loves the gym in there, doesn't he?
I mean, the way that he kissed, Danica, wasn't it, that he kissed from...
Yeah.
And it was out of nowhere. He leans forward, gives her this allegedly passionate kiss, and we need to remember that body language, because it did look like a passionate kiss, but it came from no passion, and then it went to no passion. He just turned off like that. She wanted a bit of me, and I gave it to her, and I think that's the way the guy deals with it, and it's hilarious in a way, but I don't want to see those two try to get into a really, really real relationship, because I think it would be like two juggernauts colliding. But I love what they're doing. I'm loving their work.
It's great TV, isn't it? And next week we'll tell all. Cannot wait to get your thoughts once Casa Amor. Fingers crossed this happens next week. Absolutely brilliant. Well, thank you, Judi. Another amazing, absolute dissection of the wonder that's going on in the villa right now.
Well, I love it. And like you, I can't wait to see next week. I'm even watching all the catch-ups and everything now. I've never been quite as into a series before.
That's absolutely brilliant. Well, thank you again. Another brilliant Love or Lie Island. Same time next week.
See you then.